It's the Belly here. I'm going to talk to you real quick about one of my favorite little pieces of reloading. It's one of the first ones I got, and it's called the Lee Classic Loader. It comes fully self-contained in a little red box like this, and it does have every piece that you really need to get reloading. Now, these are very inexpensive kits. They're roughly between $30 to $55, maybe even $60, depending on the caliber and the manufacturer from which you buy them. But the nice part about it is it is, like I said, it's everything you need to get started. It comes with the following pieces, and as we use them, with these pieces right here, and as we use them, I'll get a little pointer here. As we use these pieces, I'll explain what each one wants. This is a brass cleaning rod that I use as a pointer. So, we're going to be reloading. These are caliber specific, by the way. So if you're going to shoot the 30-06, then you need to get the Lee Classic Loader. It's meant for 30-06. Seems pretty standard. So that in mind, this is a piece of brass shot out of a bolt gun, 30-06. It's got its spent primer. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get the primer out. So we grab this little piece right here, the shell holder, and it's got a hole in the middle. The brass sets in one way, it doesn't set in the other way. So you set it in there, and you grab the decapping pin. This is going to be a fairly tight fit, so don't be afraid to get it in there. Get it in there. Now, the key thing to notice is that I'm using a hammer that doesn't have any metal edges, because the metal on metal contact can cause a spark, which can blow up everything, including your face. By the way, if you can't see it, I am wearing ANSI-certified eye protection. But also, a metal hammer can damage the brass. So we just pop it in there, and you feel it knock, and then you feel it drop through, and boom, there's the primer. Primer is out. So then we can just pull this piece out, pull the decapping rod out. Like I said, it's a kind of tight fit. Pull it out and set it aside. We're going to set this aside, but we're going to use it again later, so keep that one handy. The next piece that I use that does not come with the kit and is not required, but I certainly feel better, is a primer pocket scraper. So I just go in there, I scrape the primers out, knock the dust out. I just feel better about having a cleaned primer. The next thing we need to do is resize this. So we grab the resizing side. Now there's two edges to this. There's a little bit skinnier, a little bit fatter end, and the part that says Lee 30-06, so all that. That's the end you want to stick it in. Plus, it's the only end where it sticks in and is supported. So you're going to stick it in there, and then again, using your non-metallic hammer, just going to pound it in until it's flush. Simple, right? Next step is we've got to get the brass out of there. And this is the little knockout bar. So this slides in the top half, goes all the way down to the webbing, give it a couple knocks, and your brass comes out the other end. Simple. We're going to need that again just a second. So while we've got our nice piece of brass that's been sized and it's been deprimed, what I want to do is grab my next little piece is a chamfer deburr tool. This is a one piece made by RCBS, and this is meant for a 17 to 60 cal in case you need to, chamfer or deburr a 60 caliber neck. Well, I've already trimmed this to length, but I just tip it upside down so that all those pieces of brass fall out, and just give it a nice chamfer deburr. The deburring is nice because it helps it not stick in your chamber. And then the chamfering on the inside is nice because it allows the bullet to seat a little bit smoother. And then I just grab a little brush and brush out any remaining debris. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to prime the case. So I've already got a case primed aside, but I want to show you how I do this using the spent primer that just came out. Our next piece that we're going to pull out is this guy. This piece actually serves two purposes. The first one is it allows you to reseat a primer, and the second one is the bullet seater. So you can see that it's got a spot there for seating against the ogive or against the halfway down the thing, and you pound that in it. Anyways, I'll show you. So you take your primer with the anvil side up, and you set it in there. And it creates this little lip. Right there, you can see the little lip. The reason I like that little lip is your piece of brass sits and can kind of anchor itself on there. Next thing you do is you grab this rod, you put it in there, and then you just hit, and it seats your primer. So that's a spent primer. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer over to, so we're going to need that again, we're going to need that again, and we're going to need this little guy again. I'm going to get my primed case that's got everything else, just got a fresh primer in it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little space here, and I'm going to set up a beam scale. So the first time I tried this, what I forgot to do was level the scale, so I ended up with like 70 grains of powder in there, and I wondered. Anyways, so all we got to do is stop this guy from wiggling, and make sure we're on 0, 0, 0. And then oopsie, and then 0 our scale out. So we're now at 0, 0, 0. The powder we're going to use today is IMR 4064. So the book says we're going to use 49 grains is our starting load. And we're going to be shooting a 155 grain hollow point boat tail. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my dipper, and with our freshly calibrated beam scale, oopsie, forgot a step here. What to do next is preset this at 49 grains. That way when we start dumping powder in there, we don't have to worry if we're going over. Oopsie. We're at 49. Grab a little bit more because we should be pretty close. Oh, that was just a bit too much. So it looks like one complete full dipper plus a couple kernels is probably going to be our 49 grains. But let's get rid of a lot of the grains that are on there. And work our way back up. And you just work your way around until you get 49 grains. And it looks like we've hit our 49 grains. Now, because 49 grains is the starting load, and this is going to be shot out of a bolt gun, I don't worry too much about going a little bit under the minimum. As long as the bullet doesn't stick in the barrel, the bullet actually leaves the muzzle, we're probably going to be okay. So I then take first off I take my scale, I move it out of the way. There we go, buddy, thanks. Front and center of our primed brass, double check, primed. Deburred and chamfered, yep. Take our powder funnel, and we're going to toss our 49 grains of powder in there. There. Now, we've got 49 grains of powder in this bad mamma jamma, so we need to get the bullet seated. Here's where things get a little bit interesting. What you do is you set that guy right in there, and then you take this sizing part and it fits right over top. Now the neat thing about this is that with this space in there, the sizing portion doesn't actually engage. So it's just a nice little stamp there. And then, using this, you drop it in the top. Bloop. This part, by the way, threads on, threads off, and this part locks it in place. So my reloading guide says we're looking for 3.225. I've already set this to where I need to go. And then I set that on top, plump, and it'll stop on top of the bullet. And then I just give it a tap to break that. Give it a tap to break, or to get it seated in there. And then voila. One freshly made 30-06 cartridge using the Lee Classic loader. Give it a little shake, and yes, you can hear the powder splashing around in there. So there we go, one 30-06 round. Now, let's do the exact same thing, but let's see what it looks like uninterrupted. Take our 155 grain, take our piece of brass, our shot out piece of brass, no primer, set that aside, set that aside. And get my one lone primer that I forgot to get out of the thing. Seat the primer. Get this thing on there. There. Primer is seated. Get that out of the way. 49 grains of powder. 49. Stop. Well, it already started over 49 grain. Absolutely full. So let's dump some out. And we need to put a little bit more in there. Yep, and we're really playing this back and forth game. Good stuff. Okay, that's pretty darn close to 49 grains. We've got that. Get this, flip, set, bullet, cedar, bullet 2. So now I've described the process and I've guided you through exactly what it looks like. I hope you found this helpful. Please like, subscribe, and comment. I really enjoy. Thanks.